Hello, it's now 8 a.m. local time and the new day had just started right here in Hanoi, Vietnam. You are with me, Minh Chang, for the latest English news update brought to you by VTV International. Coming up next are the headlines. Vietnamese party leader praised Russia as an important partner of Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi CPI to fall in November. And later on, ASEAN Solidarity Week officially kicks off in Hanoi. General Secretary of the Vietnam Communist Party, Nguyễn Phú Trọng, is paying an official visit to Russia and to Belarus from November 23rd to the 28th. Now, prior to his departure for Russia, Trọng applauded Russia as one of Vietnam's primary and most important partners in a recent interview with the Russian news agency TASS. More to follow.
In his interview with the Russian news agency TASS, regarding the strategic partnership between the two nations, General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng affirmed that Vietnam has always regarded Russia as one of our reliable partners of paramount importance. The regular dialogues between senior leaders have helped deepen the Vietnam-Russia comprehensive strategic partnership and consolidate political trust and the relationship between the two states, the two governments, as well as the two legislative bodies. In terms of areas of cooperation, oil and energy continues to be beneficial areas of cooperation. Outstanding results have been achieved in expanded cooperation in a multitude of fields like mining, metallurgy, education training, science technology and outer space. Both sides have also organized regular cultural exchanges to expand tourism cooperation, as Russia is on the list of the 10 countries having the highest number of travelers to Vietnam. In the coming time, the two sides should continue to focus on comprehensive affiliation in all fields, from political and external relations to economics cooperation based on the three pillars: trade, investment and energy. Vietnam will continue to join hands with ASEAN countries to spur the ASEAN-Russia comprehensive development and fully utilize advantages of each other as a contribution to peace, stability, cooperation and development in the Asia-Pacific region and the world at large. The country, together with ASEAN states and Russia, will pinpoint limitations in bilateral cooperation in a bid to find solutions for developing the ASEAN-Russia relation in a more substantial and effective manner.
The Japan Desk of Foreign Investment Agency, or FIA, made its debut on Friday. The desk will work to support Japanese businesses and learn about investment opportunities in Vietnam. Now, in recent times, Japanese businesses have heavily invested in Vietnam in such fields as manufacturing, processing, agriculture, and technology. At present, Japan ranks fourth in terms of total newly registered capital and increased capital with $1.66 billion accounting for 12.1% of total foreign investment capital in Vietnam. According to the Ministry of Planning and Investment, or MPI, Japanese investment in the country is likely to increase rapidly in the time to come, with a focus on pharmaceuticals, chemicals, steel production, machineries, electronics, and transport. On Saturday, the Municipal Statistics Office, or GSO, announced that Ho Chi Minh City's Consumer Price Index, or CPI, declined by 0.36% in November. A fall was recorded in the transport services, housing, electricity, water, and building materials, as well as in other goods and services. Meanwhile, the education sector, as well as post and telecommunications, remained stable, while other commodities even saw a slight increase in their prices. Now, these include garments, headwear, footwear, home appliances, beverages, and tobacco. The Hanoi Statistical Office also recently announced that the capital city CPI in November decreased 0.3% on month. The last few months have seen consecutive dips in oil prices in Vietnam. As such, public expenditure on transportation has plunged by 2.93% since October. Food prices have also dropped significantly. Meanwhile, the price of clothing shot up in November due to rising demands for winter wear. Moving on now to other news. The U.S. Department of Commerce, or DOC, has imposed countervailing duties on steel nails imported from Vietnam. In its preliminary decision, the DOC concluded that all imports of steel nails of less than 12 inches from Vietnam will be subject to an 8.35% countervailing import duty, with a de minimis exception for small, inconsequential imports. The DOC began its investigation on June the 18th of 2014 on steel nails imported between the period of January 1st until December 30th of 2013. This is the fifth countervailing duty that the U.S. has lodged against Vietnamese products. Recent statistics show that in 2013, the total value of steel nails exported to the U.S. from Vietnam was $34.7 million, with a total volume of 39,000 tons and comprising about 17% of total U.S. imports. Many Vietnamese shrimp exporters have seen suffering following the anti-dumping decision made last September by the United States Department of Commerce, or DOC. So what's the full extent of the damage to this industry, and what can Vietnamese shrimp farmers expect in the future? More to follow.
Shrimp prices have fallen by between 70 and 93 cents per kilogram. Specifically, white lag shrimp prices dropped from $6.6 to $5.6 per kilogram. Meanwhile, tiger prawn shrimp is now only $12.6 per kilogram.
Businesses lower the prices they pay for our shrimp, and the tax is supposed to be on the business, but ultimately it's the farmers who suffer.
Võ Hồng Ngoan, who has been shrimp farming for 10 years, says that farmers have many challenges to face, including the anti-dumping tax, diseases in their stock, and high feed prices. He stressed that 80% of his expenditure is on expensive feed and medicine.
10 years ago, the prices never fell like this, but even when the price fluctuated, farmers always took the hit and suffered. Fish companies never supported us or discounted their prices.
However, the U.S. anti-dumping law has 7 conditions which could work in favor of shrimp exporters. These conditions include how the dumping margins are calculated. As such, farmers are hopeful of a brighter future in the month ahead.
After the WTO's decision, if we have less pressure from taxes, we will raise the buying price and share the benefits with the farmers. Then we will stabilize the area for businesses.
When exporters suffer due to high taxes, farmers also suffer. And so farmers expect these businesses to share benefits when they come also. They also want a more equitable price for their shrimp. After all, this might be the only way for exporters to preserve the shrimp industry.
The price of milk in the global market has been dropping steadily over the past 5 months. However, dairy prices in Vietnam remain high. Why is that so? The Phone Report will shed some light on the situation.
Quách Thu Hà is a mother of 2. She spends on average $100 per month on dairy products for her children. She's struggling to make ends meet as the cost of feeding her family outweighs all other costs. It's a constant struggle. I only ever see milk prices rising but never dropping. I have also noticed that it was cheaper to raise my first daughter. Now the cost of powdered milk for my second child is outrageous. Earlier this year in June, the Ministry of Finance issued a decision imposing price ceilings on 25 powdered milk products for children under 6 years old. However, even after implementing this law, the price remains at an all-time high.
The world market price has dropped. However, the contracts domestic enterprises have with international partners have already been put in place. Any change would only be effective for future contracts. As for direct trading, the price of some products is now lower.
In 2013, Vietnamese dairy producers spent $35 million on advertising, which suggested to consumers that powdered milk is better than breast milk. The Ministry of Finance has since implemented regulations that limit the amount of money that companies can spend on ad campaigns. And that's one solution to reduce the price of milk.
I hope that the Ministry of Finance will re-examine their situation. Businesses are using past contracts as excuses. But why is it that when the world prices increase, the domestic market must follow, but not when the price drops?
As Vietnam has one of the youngest populations in the world, dairy production is an extremely lucrative field. Experts suggest that policymakers should regulate this industry so corporations cannot exploit consumers.
Coming up next in the latter half of our bulletin, the Vietnam Coast Guard officially received a new boat designed specifically for rescues at sea. And later on, the ASEAN Solidarity Week kicks off in Hanoi. Stay tuned.
Exotic Vietnam is an intriguing blend of many charms. This land is where all manner of stunning landscapes await like a visual feast, rivaled only by the beauty of its people and their abundantly rich tradition and culture. Here is where you can relive the past in richest color or live it up in the bright lights of the big city. With so much more to offer, Vietnam is simply unforgettable.
You're watching VTV News live from Hanoi. Now, the Vietnam Coast Guard officially received a new tugboat named DTS 4612 on Friday. Designed specifically for rescues at sea, the boat is built to withstand any weather conditions and has a maximum operation time of 30 consecutive days at sea. Also on Friday, the force held a keel laying ceremony to start building a new multi-functional ship. The ship is being designed to meet international standards and will serve the purpose of patrolling and protecting the country's sovereignty at sea, as well as making emergency rescues. The ship will be 90.5 meters long and 14 meters wide, with maximum speed of 21 nautical miles per hour and a maximum limit of 40 days at sea. Now, both vessels are equipped with state-of-the-art technology provided by the Dutch company Damen. The Airbus A350XWM extra wide body took to the air for the very first time in Vietnam in a test flight organized by Airbus and Vietnam Airlines in Hanoi on Saturday. Now, the aircraft newly introduced in Hanoi flew with testing devices in their deluxe first-class seats and economy seating. Vietnam Airlines is expected to take delivery of the first fuel efficiency Airbus A350XWB sometime in the middle of next year as part of its major fleet modernization and network expansion plan. Now, the A350XWB is capable of transporting 369 passengers and fly nearly 15,000 kilometers non-stop. VNA will operate a fleet of this aircraft for its long-haul routes, beginning with its Hanoi to Paris route. Moving on now to other news. On Friday, Da Nang Museum received a collection of 36 historical objects donated by local people. Among the donation were 23 objects which used to belong to the soldiers in the American War. 12 were objects belonging to soldiers who died on the Cambodian battlefield. And the final then was a cultural piece. Also on the occasion of Vietnam Cultural Heritage Day, Da Nang Museum opened a One Love History, a club for students in the locality. This club is expected to educate young people about the heroic tradition of previous generations in protecting the country. Thăng Long, Hanoi is not only Vietnam's political center, but also a special location that has preserved a great deal of the nation's culture from old times. The Imperial Citadel of Thăng Long, the Temple of Literature in Hanoi, as well as many traditional craft villages, and the Dòng Festival are all parts of Hanoi's valuable tangible and intangible heritage. These cultural touchstones have been represented in a photo exhibition in Hanoi as part of the activities to celebrate Vietnam's Cultural Heritage Day on November the 23rd.
These 40 photos by Hanoians highlight the beauty of the land, people, and cuisine of Hanoi. This exhibition is part of the schedule of activities honoring Vietnam's cultural heritage held in Kim Ngân Temple in Hanoi's Old Quarter from November 21st to December 31st.
The exhibition is not only to mark the 10th anniversary of Vietnam's Cultural Heritage Day, it also helps us to remember the old Hanoi with its old beauty. It teaches younger generations more about the tradition here and encourages people to preserve these values. The 40 photos we have displayed here should appeal to everybody. We should come together to preserve Hanoi's tangible and intangible heritages. It's very simple. We take pictures to capture the moments of life and then share them with everybody. This will help Vietnamese overseas to understand life in Hanoi.
The exhibition includes 3 different areas, including historical relics of Thăng Long, Hanoi, Hanoi's traditional crafts, and daily life of local people.
These photos are very nice and typical of Hanoi. I can see the life of Hanoi, the children of Hanoi, and different crafts of Hanoi Old Quarter. Everything is unique and interesting.
Along with this exhibition, a wide variety of cultural and arts activities honoring Vietnam's cultural heritage will be held at any venues throughout Hanoi's Old Quarter. The activities allow the capital citizens and tourists to learn more about Hanoi traditional culture, while also raising public awareness about preserving and promoting the country's cultural values.
The Cultural Exchange Program for ASEAN Solidarity Week officially kicked off on November the 21st in Hanoi. Various cultural activities from ASEAN countries will be promoted during the event.
Addressing the opening ceremony, Deputy Prime Minister Phạm Bình Minh said the event was particularly significant in light of the upcoming establishment of the ASEAN community in 2015. After the speeches, the ASEAN flag hoisting ceremony took place with the attendance of ASEAN's Secretary General Lê Lương Minh.
This is a significant cultural event. Through the diverse activities taking place here, people can get a better understanding of the unique features of Vietnam and ASEAN countries. Culture is a good platform for connecting communities and countries in ASEAN.
The event also brought together more than 200 representatives of ethnic groups nationwide. Here they will honor Vietnamese cultural diversity by introducing their community's typical architecture features and daily activities.
Although I'm performing far away from home, I feel like I'm at home. Here I also have the chance to exchange my community's culture with that of other ASEAN countries.
The ASEAN Solidarity Week will last until November the 23rd and will showcase various traditional activities, including the ASEAN Cultural Heritage Introduction, the Traditional Sports Grounds Exhibition, as well as Vietnam's ethnic festivals. The event is a chance for Vietnam and ASEAN countries to promote their cultural values and strengthen people-to-people ties.
Actress Colin Camp and director Ellie Roth are among the Hollywood stars expected to walk the red carpet of the 3rd Hanoi International Film Festival, which will officially kick off tonight, November 23rd. Now, this festival is a platform for Asian film and an opportunity for filmmakers to meet others in the film industry and seek out new projects.
This year, Hanif will be screening 18 Vietnamese films, including Flapping in the Middle of Nowhere or Đập cánh giữa không trung, Idol, Thần tượng, and The Children of the Village, Những đứa con của làng, which has all been critically acclaimed.
I was challenging for us to make a post-war movie on a budget of only $280,000 US. However, thanks to our professional crew, we have produced a movie worth watching.
Organizers of this year's film festival have also launched Camp Creation, an opportunity for young filmmakers to meet and learn from one another and begin quality new projects. Those behind Camp Creation are hopeful that high-quality projects emerging from this initiative will go on to be screened at other international film festivals, such as the Berlin Film Festival or the Hong Kong Film Festival.
To cooperate with international film professionals for this particular film festival is a good way to learn from their experience. However, we should also focus on creating our own characteristics, which can distinguish us from other festivals in the world.
Way back home from South Korea, 2 women from the UK, and The Way of Elephants from New Zealand, which all received high praise from the critics, will also be screened. With the program boasting 130 movies from 32 territories and nations, this third Hanif promises to be a diverse treat accommodating both artists and movie lovers.
Bún chả, a Vietnamese dish which originated in the capital city of Hanoi, has been chosen as one of the world's best street food by the internationally renowned National Geographic travel website. The selection was made based on comments from National Geographic travelers' Facebook fans who were asked to nominate the best lip-smacking street meals they've sampled around the globe. Vietnamese bún chả Hanoi, or rice noodles with grilled pork and meatballs, were among 10 dishes that were most cited by National Geographic's readers. Besides bún chả, other types of street food that have attracted foreign investors include bacalhau, fish with fresh bread and cheese in Portugal, nasi lemak, a fragrant rice dish cooked in coconut milk and pandan leaf, commonly found in Malaysia, and balut in the Philippines. And now it's time to review some highlighted events that happened throughout the week.
As part of the 8th session of the 13th National Assembly, the Prime Minister and other ministers from November the 17th to the 19th answered queries from the National Assembly deputies. On November the 17th, Minister of Industry and Trade Vũ Huy Hoàng faced inquiries regarding the support in manufacturing industries, market management, and strategies to prevent smuggling and the sale of counterfeit goods. On the same morning, Minister of Home Affairs Nguyễn Thái Bình answered concerns on administrative reforms, human resources of state agencies, labor productivity, and salary structure reforms. Minister of Transport Đinh La Thăng answered questions regarding traffic safety and solutions to finishing important highways and infrastructure works. Minister of Labor, War Invalids, and Social Affairs answered inquiries regarding the rights and obligations of laborers, guest workers, and social benefits. On November the 19th, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng wrapped up the sessions by answering questions on issues related to the country's socio-economic development. Following the Q&A sessions, the National Assembly passed the laws on the NA organization and social insurance on Thursday and adopted the law on civil aviation.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng on Friday welcomed German Vice Chancellor and Minister for Economic Affairs and Energy, Sigmar Gabriel, who's in Ho Chi Minh City, to attend the 40th Asia-Pacific Conference of German Business, or APK. The German Business Networking event saw the participation of 750 decision-makers to discuss the current economic climate in the region. The Asia-Pacific region, which accounts for 55% GDP of the world, has great potential for German businesses. At the event, the German Vice-Chancellor also expressed his hope for further economic cooperation between the two countries. Germany is the largest trading partner of Vietnam in Europe, with a turnover of nearly $8 billion, accounting for over 20% of the total trade turnover between Vietnam and the European Union.
Defense Minister General Phùng Quang Thanh led a delegation of Vietnamese senior military officers at the ASEAN Defense Ministers Meeting Retreat, or ADMM Retreat, on Wednesday in Bagan, Myanmar. Participants at the meeting agreed to intensify cooperation at sea to ensure maritime safety, with an emphasis on combating piracy in the Malacca and the East Sea. Regarding the East Sea, delegates underlined the need for collaboration between countries that have a vested interest in order to conform to the Declaration of Conduct in the East Sea. ASEAN members aim to work with China to adopt a code of conduct in the East Sea to resolve conflicting interests.
The World Trade Organization this week announced its panel's final decision on Vietnam's lawsuit against the U.S. imposition of anti-dumping tariffs on certain warm water frozen shrimp, known as the case DS-429. The panel considered 11 of Vietnam's claims and issued rulings on 7 of them in favor of the Vietnamese side, especially in administrative proceedings and dumping margins. Under the U.S. Department of Commerce decision, the nationwide tariff on imported frozen Vietnamese shrimp will remain at 25.76%, the same level as the past 7 review periods. During the year, the Vietnamese permanent mission to the United Nations, the WTO and international organizations in Geneva also asked for the establishment of a panel on case DS-429, which was approved by the WTO's dispute settlement body. The Vietnamese mission has asked the U.S. side to abide by the panel's ruling and revise laws on the calculation of anti-dumping margins accordingly.
Vietnamese director Nguyễn Hoàng Điệp scooped the Best Director award for a feature film, Đập cánh giữa không trung, or Flapping in the Middle of Nowhere, at the Bratislava 16 International Film Festival last weekend. Flapping in the Middle of Nowhere was screened for 2 days in the Slovakian capital and attracted large audiences in addition to critical acclaim. The film will be screened in Vietnam starting November 23rd.
The U.S. non-profit organization Operation Smile this week conducted free surgeries for over 1,000 Vietnamese children with cleft lips, cleft palate, and other facial deformities in 6 locations across the nation. This is the organization's biggest operation this year in Vietnam, marking its 25th year of Operation Smile in Vietnam. In the last 25 years, Operation Smile has provided free operations for over 33,000 children with cleft lips, cleft palates, and other facial deformities.
And now before we say goodbye, let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that concludes our news update for this hour. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you want to catch a live streaming of our video, simply logging on to vtv4.vn or youtube.com/vtv4go. We'll see you back here at 3 p.m. local time. For now, goodbye from Hanoi.
WTO announces ruling on Vietnam's shrimp anti-dumping lawsuit. Vietnam aims at more value-added agriculture sector. Those are the headlines for this edition of BizLine here on VTV International. Hello and welcome to the show. I am Minh Hằng from Hanoi, and let's now kickstart with the economic highlights from last week. The World Trade Organization this week announced its panel final decisions on Vietnam's lawsuits against the U.S. impositions of anti-dumping tariffs on certain warm water frozen shrimp, known as case DS-429. The panel considered 11 of Vietnam's claims and issues rulings on 7 of them in favor of the Vietnamese side, especially in administrative proceedings and dumping margins. Under the U.S. Department of Commerce decisions, the nationwide tariff on imported frozen Vietnamese shrimp will remain at 25.76%, the same level as the past 7 review periods. During the year, the Vietnamese permanent missions to the United Nations, the WTO, and international organizations in Geneva also asked for the establishment of a panel on case DS-429, which was approved by the WTO's dispute settlement body. The Vietnamese mission has asked the U.S. side to abide by the panel's ruling and revise laws on the calculations of anti-dumping margins accordingly. The foreign exchange rate between the Vietnamese dong and the U.S. dollars on Monday rose to its highest level since June, hitting 21,380 Vietnamese dong to the dollar amid soaring demand from enterprises near the end of the year. According to analysts, most banks had abundant capital available for lending, and the pressure of completing profit targets was forcing them to expand lending, particularly in foreign currency. The State Bank of Vietnam, or SBV, affirmed that it will make no change to the U.S. dollars Vietnamese dong exchange rate. An overall market review conducted by the bank revealed that the currency supply and demand remained stable as no large transactions had been made in the market. The 6th World Rice Conference kicked off in Phnom Penh, Cambodia this Wednesday. The 2-day event has attracted over 500 rice exporters and buyers from 40 countries and territories, including Vietnam. The event was launched to call for all stakeholders in the rice industry to join hands to establish a strategy to ensure food stability and protect the interests of customers, farmers, and distributors. During the event, discussion panels sought solutions to raise the efficiency of rice export and address the challenges faced by the industries in 2015. The World Rice Conference is a networking event to connect exporters and importers, professionals, and governmental agencies. The event also included a World Best Rice competition. Vietnam Motor Show 2014 kicked off in Ho Chi Minh City on Wednesday. 16 automobile manufacturers registered for the exhibition, including Ford, GM, Honda, Mercedes-Benz, Toyota, and Porsche. The 10th edition of Vietnam's largest automobile exhibition is an opportunity for manufacturers and importers to introduce their latest models and technologies to customers. The 5-day event is expected to attract as many as 150,000 visitors. Vietnam's car sales has been on the rise in recent years. In the first 10 months of this year, over 120,000 cars were sold, up 40% year-on-year, according to the Vietnam Automobile Manufacturers Association. Vietnam and German experts came together at a seminar here in Hanoi on Tuesday to assess industrial wastewater treatment in Vietnam and share their experience. Experts highlighted that Vietnam's industrialization has resulted in significant development and also major environmental challenges. German experts emphasized the urgent need for proper industrial wastewater treatment before discharging water back into the environment. So far, Vietnam has 230 industrial zones, among which 140 operate with wastewater treatment, while 30 are building the facilities for treatment plants. The seminar was co-hosted by the Vietnamese Ministries of Technology and Science and the German Federal Ministries of Education and Research. Those are the highlights from last week's economic scenes. Up next, we will talk more about ways for Vietnam to achieve a more value-added agriculture sector in our crosstalk. Vietnam is among many countries with fast-growing agriculture sectors and a major agro-produce exporter in the world. However, one of the pressing issues of the sector is that the value added of Vietnamese agro products remains low due to many reasons, from the prevailing